And when she walked in the trailer and saw another female in the trailer, she went home and said to her mom, "Mom, there's another woman on the job site. Do you know how good I felt when I saw that?" So I think just being there and being your authentic self is our calling, and I think that's why we're so passionate about NAWIC.
I grew up in a construction family. The girls were not encouraged, obviously, to go in that direction. The boys were all the landscaping crews, all the heavy equipment operators. I understood construction language very well. I'm fluent in it as a result, but I really went in. 1996 is when I was brought into it professionally, and it was on the transportation public works side, and that's where I stayed. It was kind of interesting, and I didn't realize I was a woman in construction until actually I went to an equipment show and was a vendor there, an exhibitor, and I went under the tent, and there was a woman sitting there, Jamie Welch, who was the then president of the Granite State chapter, and she had a 50-50 raffle going on, and it said NAWIC. I'm from Massachusetts, and I saw WIC, Women's, Infants, and Children. That's what I thought it was. I'm like, wow, WIC is up here? Like, this is what I'm thinking it meant. And she's like, no, women in construction. I said, oh, well, that's not me. Because I'm thinking dirty jobs, right? That's not
Trades.
me. And she goes, yeah. And she goes, you're here as a vendor and you're not a woman in construction? Like, huh? And that was my aha moment. So I got introduced to the Granite State chapter through that, not realizing even that there was a Greater Worcester chapter, which is much closer, or a Boston chapter, which technically is much closer, but I'm happy where I landed. So that was my intro to not only construction, again, but also to NAWIC.
My major in college was kinesiotherapy, sports medicine, and I ran out of money. So I answered an ad for a construction company. Didn't know it was a construction company, kind of like you. But it was a temporary position, that's all they were asking for. So I'm like, this is perfect, I'll get enough money, go back to school, I'll be good. Well, what was supposed to be a 6 to 8 month temporary position, I was at that company for 16 years.
Yeah, I'd say that's
kind of how it is.
Ended a little bit.
Yeah, so I fell in love with the industry. The president of the company realized that.
What did you do?
They hired me in as a receptionist.
Okay.
And basically to be able to put, they were behind on their record keeping.
Yeah.
So basically to put all their, get them back organized, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And the president recognized that I had a little bit more than just being a receptionist. And I was taught everything. So I did contracts, I did insurances, did all the bid bonds and sureties and all that. And then when I left there, I was a project coordinator. So,
Very cool.
And I learned about NAWIC. My previous employer, I walked in, I wasn't even employed for a week, and someone said, oh, you should be part of NAWIC. The company I worked for, one of the founders was one of the owners of Rudolph Libby. So they're like, oh, you got to be part of NAWIC, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of NAWIC. It sounds great. And here I am, 20 years later.
There you go.
I think the interesting part of all of it is how diverse NAWIC is. Yeah. And people don't understand that when they talk about, oh, you're in construction. Like you said, well, you must be in the trades. But I think that's the interesting part of it, is that we come from all different backgrounds, but we still have so much in common and so much interest together, and how we bond on that.
Right, I would agree 100% with that.
I think even the other day when we were in the brainstorming session, the Congress, and it came out, and I believe it was said even beyond that, about we're all professionals, and we have to stop siloing each other.
That was a big thing.
And
yeah,
that, for me, that was like, that went, yep, that's true, because language does make a difference, right? So if we distinguish ourselves between, the office, the field, the trades, I mean, you're breaking us into silos that aren't necessary if you call us all professionals.
Right.
Okay, and we have careers. Jobs are jobs. they're just over broke. That's how people operate. That's what it stands for, right? So when you have a career, you're investing, and they're investing back in you. So whatever your employer saw in you at the beginning, there's potential, there's growth. Yeah, you may have started off answering the phones, but that's the first level of sales, whether you like it or not.
Right.
I think the youth of today that are coming into NAWIC, the younger members, I think that they already have that non-bias. It's, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they come in with, they are a professional, and I think that's going to sustain and move us forward a lot
awesome.
better.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I agree with that. I think the younger generation doesn't quite see black and white like we did. And I don't mean necessarily the color of your skin, but
no, it's cut and dry.
Yeah,
Yes.
They're more accepting of everyone. We're not just women in construction on a construction site anymore. We are leaders. They see that and they accept that. So it's not quite as they're just more accepting of who we all are and what we bring to the table. I remember the first time I was asked to go on a pre-bid.
A what?
Pre-bid.
Oh,
So,
pre-bid. Okay.
At that time in the world, women were expected to wear skirts and heels to work. So the first time I was asked to go on a pre-bid, I was in a skirt and high-heeled shoes, and my first pre-bid was up a ladder onto a roof.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so I was the first one up, or the last one up and the first one down. And I can honestly say I've never worn a skirt to work since.
Put an end to that. Wardrobe.
Yeah, but I think our challenges have changed and evolved through the years. It used to be, oh, you're running this job mentality that I used to get when all right, when's the project manager going to get here so we can get this show on the road? And I said, oh, we only have one more person to wait for, and then I'll get us started. And it used to be derogatory remarks like you had said. You don't get that anymore. So I think our challenges are evolving as we evolve as women in this industry. And so it's not, your challenges aren't the same even from day to day, but I think from year to year and generation to generation, they have changed immensely.
I do agree with it. I mean, obviously, we're of a certain age too that we lived in an era where, my first bosses, my first professional bosses, which is not construction at all, but you were taught how not to treat people because they treated people so poorly.
Well, I think, of course, we talk about being mentors all the time. And I think that we need to be there for those that are coming up next and be their champions and be there. They know a lot more even than I do. I mean, they're in the world now that is not foreign to me because I'm pretty savvy of staying into things, but I watch them come up and they're so much more self-assured of themselves, but we can't take that for granted because they have questions and they want to know things, and we must give them the opportunity to ask us and feel like I have somebody I can talk to. Right. And they may not even want my opinion, but they want to be heard and have somebody. And I think that is a job that will keep us sustaining longer and keeping this industry more
relevant, maybe?
Yeah, more relevant, but more wanting more women to come into it because, hey, I have a group that's going to help me and I have someone that will help you, and I think we need to do that. And we talk about, and I know that I'm getting at the not end because that's just not me. I'm too into all of this and have too much passion for NAWIC and the industry and women in it. But I think we need to continue that and instill it in others to keep it moving forward.
Right.
And I think that isn't just an obligation. That is what I'm here for.